So my name is Frank Kaszuba. I'm the head brewer here at Fitger's Brewhouse. I'm in charge of brewery operations here, which means making sure that we're making all the beer we need to make. Also coming up with new product development, new recipes, new ideas, which we're constantly trying to do because it's exciting for us, and I think it's exciting for our consumers as well. And I started working here in the summer of 2001, so I just celebrated 15 years here in the brewery this summer. Well, I was living in Alaska at the time, and my brother got a homebrew kit in the Christmas of '91. And I was like, oh, you know, this brewing thing sounds interesting, and give it a try. And started brewing with him and really got into it. And when I moved back to Duluth in 1993, I started homebrewing and started doing it a lot more. And I was going to graduate school at the time at the University of Minnesota Duluth, and brewing just became a big part of my life pretty quick. And I really wanted to pursue the idea of doing it for a living, which a lot of people think about. And I was perhaps foolish enough to pursue that dream at the time. I mean, it's worked out pretty well for me. But so in the 1996, I was able to do an apprenticeship at Lake Superior Brewing Company here in town, and learned a lot from working with them for 6 months or so. And learned about all grain brewing, which I hadn't done at the time, and yeah, had a great time doing it. So when I was done with graduate school, and I said, well, I want to go brew beer somewhere. And at the time, Anchorage had a booming brewing scene. They still have a really amazing brewing scene, but you know, a lot of these cultural trends tend to happen at the coasts first, and Anchorage is really a northwest extension of Seattle in terms of their culture. So they had really good coffee way before the Midwest, and they had a preponderance of really good beer before the Midwest. And so when I moved up there in 1997, there were a lot of breweries. There were maybe 10 breweries in that town of like 200,000 people. And so I brewed up there for a couple of years and loved it, but decided I really wanted to move back to Duluth. Moved back to Duluth and waited and got a spot at the Brewhouse. There weren't very many breweries in town at the time, and a spot opened up at the Brewhouse, at Fitger's Brewhouse in 2001, and I was able to start in the brewery then. And I've been here for 15 years, and I've learned everything along the way, and now I'm the one that gets to call the shots, I guess.
That's great.
Actually, when I started, before I was in the brewery full time, I was bartending sometimes. And I saw at that point there were a lot of people coming in looking for Budweiser, Miller. They didn't really know what we were about. They didn't know what craft beer was about. It was a different scene 15 years ago. And so there was a lot of education that happened. You know, well, if you like Budweiser, you may want to try our Lighthouse Golden. And most people that tried it liked it. So it was start of a long education process. And nowadays, I don't think we get customers that are asking those questions as much anymore because of that education. You know, I think it would be a mistake for us in our case, to throw everything out and restart. There's some breweries that do that, where they're constantly making new beers, and there's nothing, they never repeat anything. For us, because we have such a loyal following on some of our beers, like Apricot Wheat and Starfire, we can't change those beers, but we keep making those beers. But our goal is then to make new things that will, you know, entice new people to enjoy craft beer, and to keep people that want to try new things, that are craft beer consumers, that we're always coming out with something new. Again, we were talking about making a large variety of beers, and I think we take a lot of pride in making them as well as we can. And part of our philosophy is that we want to have a wide selection of beers, different flavors, because to me, craft beer is about not the lowest common denominator. It's about making very distinctive beers.